All right, listen up, Spuds. This is Zap Brannigan, master of time, space, and everything else in between. And, oh, yeah, winner of this year's Modesty Award. You're listening to You Suck. What's the difference with Al and Tom? Your one stop for this sort of thing.
Should I press record?
I did it. I did it. Well, yeah, go on.
So, like, okay, you drink a can of soda, right? What do you do with the empty can?
Chuck in the recycling.
You're checking the recycling. And it goes and obviously it gets recycled and it fucking goes on to the next step and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what they do over here in America, right?
We fuck those cans. We stick our little pinkies in there and we fucking... No, I don't know.
That would cut up your dick way up, man.
No,
your dick would look like a fucking slinky.
Alex ever
you get
learned
money.
not to say silly things? Really? That's cool.
Yeah. Fucking that's why like you always hear about homeless like picking up like Coke cans and bottles and shit like that. And some cans and bottles are worth more than others. Check out this.
Is it a lot of money?
It's 5 cents for the cans. But you gotta think, like, you find 20 random cans on the side of the road, that's a fucking buck, or at least an American buck. And if you find liquor bottles, like glass bottles, that's 15 cents.
That's not
I wonder why that's a thing here, but not over there.
I don't know. I mean, maybe there's something there I've missed. But yeah, it's not really something I ever think about, to be honest. But like, yeah, it's a crazy world. It's been a very difficult month this month, I've got to say, because I kind of, yeah, it's more a case of misplaced sort of funds, not the fact that I can't afford life. It's more of a fact that I changed my bank card, which made all my stuff late. Like not just like StreamYard was affected and a few other things. It's one of those things when you change a bank card, it's a pain in the ass, right? It really is fucking horrendous thing.
Because good luck remembering everything that bank card's attached to. We take for granted how much we just attach to it. Like my wife, on a consistent basis, will be like, "Oh, Hulu hit, Netflix hit, this hit, Disney hit, blah blah blah." Like all sorts of things will hit, and you don't think about these things as a group. You think about them as singular things, because right, that's why like you're like, "Oh, it's only $15 for Netflix. Oh, it's only $7 for Hulu. Oh, it's only like $7 for Disney, whatever the fuck have you." And then like you do the math all together and you're like, oh shit, that's like fucking $80 in streaming alone, not to mention my internet. And these things are all attached to your bank card. So the moment your bank card's fucking gone, what's paying all those things? Your good looks.
Exactly right. So I've been thinking about this a lot today because like Sky have got this deal. You guys get Sky over there, don't you? Sky TV. It's like
no, we have it, but that's like a U thing.
Oh, okay, so here Sky's been a thing forever. So it originated from cable went to Sky, and it's where you can have all the channels. You can have like over 1,000 channels. You have the sports channels, the TV, the movies, the kids channels, the music channels. You get all packages, right? So that's how it's always been over here in the UK. If you want that extra TV, you'll pay for it, and it was always a treat to have that as a family for me, anyway. But they got this great deal now with Sky Q, where you can have Netflix and Spotify and YouTube Premium and everything thrown in, and Disney Plus. So like it's ridiculous amounts of money, but it's only money you're right. I probably spend about as much on streamers or streaming content as I would on a Sky subscription anyway. So. Yeah,
well,
weird.
I think it's more about just convenience factor, right? Because even having to look through the channels, you might hit on something that you like, you might not hit something that you like. It's a weird system. I'm gonna send you a news article really quick that I found so fucking intriguing because you know me.
Okay.
Here, vamp for a second.
Yeah, I will. Words and stuff and words. Yeah, so it has been a crazy sort of month, but I think it's one I'm going to learn from because it's the simple things in life that I feel like I've appreciated this month. Like, StreamYard fucked up, and there was this, that, and the other, and I had to borrow money off my wife to get by and stuff. But like Today I've been out and had a really nice day with my family. We booked this a while ago. It cost just under £60 to go out
that's not bad.
to a safari park.
That's like what, like $70 American or something like that?
Like
90?
Probably something like that. Yeah, about the same. So a safari park, you go in, you get to drive around. There's a walking safari where you can see the tigers and the giraffe and meerkats and stuff. And there's a fun fair, almost like a theme park. I'd say an almost theme park. There's like a little mini
like
roller coaster. Ride. Yeah, little rides. Yeah, a little sky ride thing that spins around and stuff. And we had a great time. And that's the thing in life that I should be enjoying. Is like the things that you can't pay for. I've been very tense in the group with the USUK guys. I have been this week because I kind of overloaded myself with work with this radio show thing I'm doing. But at the same time, I know for a fact that once all that work is done, it's there then. That infrastructure is built. I don't need to do it again. All I need to do is renew my music and keep things fresh, right? So I knew that was going to happen, and it just exhausted me. So I turned into a snappy little bitch. I'm going to be honest, and I apologize to everybody for being that way. But the things that are important are the way my team reacted. My team reacted in the best way. You guys are fucking amazing because you didn't go, "Oh, fuck that Whiteley bitch." You were like, "I love Alex. Let's make sure everything's okay." And everybody was nice to me, and we got through it. And that's why I love my fucking USUK team. I think you're all amazing.
So. We love you as well, man. And we knew, here's the thing, is you're our friend first and foremost, but you're also technically I'm not saying you are the boss, but most things generally kind of happen because you put them into motion. So you do a fuck ton of work. So it seems almost like wrong to be like, dude, you're taking on too much, when it's like, well, it's either that or some things just don't happen. So that's why, generally speaking, I'm always a little tentative when it comes to being like, I don't know. But we've built such a fucking good rapport that I also feel like I'm the only one that can fucking really be like, hey man, this is, getting to be a little much. And the fact that you acknowledge it is obviously a lot better than if you had no foresight whatsoever and you're like, oh, nothing's wrong with me whatsoever. It's fucking everything else in the world.
Yeah. I'm the first one to say, oh, fuck, it's not a good day today. In fact, I was so backed up with stuff from the biscuit. I did pretty much the same with the Biscuiteers. I was kind of like, you better help, I was trying to catch up, and I kept writing wrong words in emails and doing wrong things, and my brain just wasn't working. I was just like, do you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to go play on the PlayStation, guys. Just see you in a bit. Have a great weekend. Cancelled the VMS for this weekend. We're not doing a VMS this weekend because fuck it. I prefer to spend some time with my family.
Yes, it's really important. Yeah. Today I just really got off a 14-hour shift, which I'm fucking just completely wiped from. The moment I walk in the door, all I want to do is just see my family. We're going, and I already told you about this, but I'll tell everyone that's listening. Everybody knows I've been doing some video recording. I'm getting a little bit better at doing it. My SD card fucking completely reformatted on me, which made me lose everything I had filmed so far, which is a big bummer because yeah. It's like I video record things so I could edit it in the future and put it on, but it's like whatever, start fresh, not a big deal. Today, me and the wife are going on a date. We don't go on them very much, so we're going down to Burlington, which is an hour and 45-minute trek, and we're gonna go a couple places. One of those places is dinner. We're going to stop. We're going to have dinner with one another, enjoy each other's company. We're also going to go into a good old-fashioned American gun store. And I know you guys in the UK, that's not really a thing like that. So one of the things... Really. No. And one of the things I love about what we do is, much like you were just really reminding me about digestive biscuits in comparison to graham crackers, I like to show a little bit of what we live. So I think it's going to shock you a tiny bit of what I'm sure you've seen it in movies and stuff, but the real life thing is a little different. Do you think they're going to be okay with me just recording in there?
I mean, you can go in ahead of time and just be like, or even bring them up. Pick up the phone, sounds daft. Just be like, yo, well, I want to do a thing for my British listeners back home. Show them how responsible, speak their language, and be like, I want to show people how responsible you are when you can buy a gun. I want to show people how it's done, just to show that the guys in the UK that there's no like. You want to buy some exploding bullets with that thing that you can aim at crowds of people? Like, do you know what I mean?
That's really well put. Actually, I think I'll do that as soon as I get out of here. Did you, oh, really quickly, speaking of video games, Thomas, my middle, has been playing Kingdom Hearts, the remake. And like, I don't know, man, like you do like great choice. It all stemmed from him playing Super Smash Brothers Deluxe or Ultimate, whatever the fuck it is. And I watched him beat the storyline. Like you would never imagine that there'd be such a thing, but just like in a Soul Calibur, any other of those fighting games, there is a storyline mode that you can choose from. So he's playing it. He gets through it like without my help. He did not get a lick of help when it came to Smash at all. And at the very end, it's this really kind of cool thing where all the shadow versions of these characters are fighting you. And you're like, all this music's going on in the background. It's very anime. And as I'm watching it, I just happen to say, wow, this is really reminiscent of Kingdom Hearts. Because obviously you fight the shadow version yourself, the music, everything else about it, the graphics. And he's like, what's Kingdom Hearts? And I was like, maybe it's time. Yeah. I had one of those moments. I was like, maybe it's time to like upgrade him in how he thinks about video games. So I was like, fuck it. First of all, the game was dirt cheap. I got Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, the final mix, for $16, like together. Dude, no, at eBay or GameStop.
Okay.
Yeah, I just went there, bought a physical copy of it so I could have it forever. Brought it home, and at first I was kind of concerned. I was like, "Fuck, dude! Like he's not really getting it." Of course, I was really shitty and judgy right off the bat. But he's been on it for a week and a half. He's locked, and by locked, part of the game is you go into each planet and you point your key at the lock that keeps the Heartless out, as you know, and that's how you lock a planet. He's fucking locked 3 planets already.
He's found his thing, man. He's found his groove. I feel like there's got to be a game out there for everybody when you're younger that makes you think, maybe I'm not too bad at this thing, or maybe you've been doing it since you were that young. You can't even remember that moment. But I feel like for me it was Destruction Derby. That was my kind of game. Like we'd all play, and there was a mode in Destruction Derby where you do like a race, but you try and score the amount of points. The best damage, the most damage points without fucking your car up wins, right? And I would fucking win. I'd win every time, and I'd be like, And then,
what is this? Give me a little back, because I'm like, you said it, and I thought I recognized it. Is it a Sega, Nintendo? What's the platform for this?
Destruction Derby, or Derby, as you guys call it.
Okay, gotcha.
Stock car game. There's Destruction
Derby, like a Burnout?
1.
Like Burnout, the game?
Very similar to the Burnout. Let me see if I can find a picture. Destruction Derby 2 was the one we used to play. And you'd have Destruction Derby 2. I found out I wasn't too bad at racing games. And then I bought V-Rally. Do you remember V-Rally? V-Rally was fucking awesome.
No, well, generally speaking, what I played on like PlayStation were the Resident Evil games. I played all those on there. I played Crash Bandicoot. I played the original Spider-Man. But really, like, my strongest memories of video gaming are my earliest games, which would be Nintendo and Sega, and Destruction Derby. That looks dope. Okay, yeah. So
wicked.
Yeah, that's
you
awesome.
Get points for like hitting cars and how many hit points you get and stuff, and you get to go to the pits. And you'd have so many seconds to go around and just spin your car around and press X to fix all the parts of your car. But if you blew your radiator, you were out.
Oh, okay.
It's fucking great. And yeah, that's good.
I'd like you to. Do they have Destruction Derby? Do they have Crash Derbies over there in the UK?
I believe
like real
so.
things.
It's started to like the sort of motocross sort of thing. I sort of made a big thing over here over the last sort of 10 years. They built like this multi-million-pound motocross arena in the UK, and it just caused a bit of a surge. It's not massive, but things like Monster Truck, Destruction, stock car racing, proper stock car racing. Yeah, it's good. But I mean, motorsport over here, it's like it runs through people's veins. Formula
Car was started over there in the UK.
Formula One, rallying. Rally's huge over here. Raleigh.
Yeah, that's a French thing, right? Like that started in the French Alps, if I'm not mistaken. The whole rally race, if I'm not mistaken, I think.
I used to marshal them when I was a kid. I just knew someone that used to do it, and we're like, "Can we come?" And they're like, "Yeah." So we went and we went and we went and we went. And we learned how to do it. So you'd have time step chop points. You'd have like corners you'd stand on in case a car rolled over. You'd back people up, or you'd help people out with bad cars and stuff. Like, it was good fun, man. Like some of the shit you'd see.
Once again, we need to get together in real life sometime. And don't get me wrong, we get together, twice a week sometimes. But there's so many things. Like when you come here, I'm like, I know you want to go to Florida and like do all the other stuff, but really you just need to spend a week here. And we're just gonna do tons of American shit. It's gonna blow your fucking mind.
I think I want to go shooting. Definitely want to go shooting because I do.
Yeah.
We were driving through Chester today, and we drove past the area, I think was where we used to go shooting. And I was like, I was just remembering the competition side of it, and like walking down and trying to, thinking, well, where did those bullets drop, and what kind of grouping did I get? And the competition side of it was really fun, because you did work on it and you get better, and you'd be able to work out what went wrong, or snatched at that one, or Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, we call that area my backyard in America.
Oh God. So anyway, we've got a couple of things to talk about. There's obviously a trailer that dropped this week, and that was for. There's the Ghostbusters one I put on the Facebook thing. I think that's a couple of months old. That's a few months old. But I stayed away from it, man. I'd stayed away from it because I thought I don't want to do that to myself, because I do that all the time. Watch trailers. I'd like to go into it fresh, but I watched it for the first time. It's fucking great, man. I know it's a few months old, but it's the first time I watched it, so this is my first reaction to it. Yeah.
It's fucking phenomenal looking. I am so impressed because, like, especially after the last one, which really wasn't that great, and I was trying to like it. Like, I really like the Ghostbusters in general, so I wanted to, support whatever Ghostbusters type thing came at us, but it wasn't that great. I don't think they understood exactly what they're doing with this. On the other hand, is how you continue the Ghostbusters without needing to bring in everyone, even though I'm fairly certain they've talked about in the past that everyone's going to show up, if I'm not mistaken.
I've said for years they should do a Ghostbusters, the next generation. And I feel like that's what they're going to do. I feel like they're going to go with these kids and maybe have Paul Rudd as their kind of
mentor,
Anthony Head sort of character, the kind of the researcher and the guy that keeps, I don't know.
Like the scene where they figure out that the Ecto, spoilers in case you're not trying to watch the trailer. The scene where they figure out that the Ecto-1 has a gunner seat, and just the sound it makes as they're, dude, that gives me chills. I love that. Yes, dude, it's so good.
It's that scene as well with Paul Rudd where he's got like the tablet and he's like showing them, or the laptop,
yes,
showing them going through New York. I was like, yeah, those were the fucking days, like I was there,
Oh my God, it's gonna be fucking brilliant, and we still have to wait a couple months for it. But damn, I got so excited that I bought it. Me and the wife got a Ghostbusters shirt for me, so I could rock that. I want to get on the train before everybody else starts getting on the train. So that was awesome.
That kid, so I can play with his proton pack. Bert Kreischer, that's the other. Let's change it. So Bert Kreischer is the other one that I saw. He's doing a film with Mark Hamill.
Yeah, they're doing The Machine, which really makes me question where the fuck like Mark Hamill's gonna be in it. But it, like, I don't know. Everyone knows that me and you are huge. Matt, oh, is he?
Yeah,
that's interesting. Everyone knows that you and me are massive Bert Kreischer fans. We love stand-up comedy in general. I've been to a couple of his shows. You're a big supporter. I got to meet the dude. I actually got to party with Bert Kreischer. Fucking A. But this makes me so excited because they've been talking about for years that they were going to make, because if anyone knows anything about Bert Kreischer, Van Wilder is technically the Bert Kreischer movie. It's Ryan Reynolds, but it's based off of Bert Kreischer's life, not to the real extent, but just how much of a partier was and how long he stayed.
Party liaison.
Yeah. Do you remember? Fuck, dude, that was a good movie.
I need to watch that again. Yeah.
Speaking of good movies, like I don't know if you got to listen to the whole live, but everyone started reminiscing really hard on Grandma's Boy.
Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, the fucking Happy Madison movie about it has most of the characters from Adam Sandler's, you've never seen Grandma's Boy?
No.
Oh, snap. Oh, dude, this is a movie for you. It's great. It's about video game testers, and they have like this protege dude who like works for him, but he's like a big tool, and the girl that played Velma and Scooby-Doo starts to work for him, and Alan, remember the guy who played the roommate in Little Nicky, the one who's like, my Coke tastes like Pepsi.
Oh, yeah. It reminds me of Andy McElfresh, he does.
Yes, he's the main character in it, and he Nick Swartzen's in it, fucking Jonah Hill's in it, dude. It's a phenomenal movie. You absolutely need to watch Grandma's Boy. You're gonna laugh your fucking
It's on my
tits
list.
off.
It's on my list. Well, look, our guest is here. I think we should introduce our guest.
Oh, fuck. We didn't even get to talk about the news story.
Oh, that's okay. It's fine. We've got time afterwards. Right, okay. Introducing Dr. Ben Fuchs to the stream. How's it going, Ben?
What's up, fellas? I didn't know I was going to be on now. I'm happy to. I was just saying hello, but I'm glad.
Oh, okay.
How you guys doing?
We were just okay. So we this is the new sort of format that we do with our show. We do like a green room thing where we sort of do a pre-chat, wait for a guest to turn up, and then go into the show. But we can give you a few minutes to compose yourself if you like.
No, I'm good.
We're good to go. Well, guys, welcome to What's the Difference podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley.
And I'm Tom Bruno.
Yay, and this is the main portion of our show. And like I said, we are joined by Dr. Ben Fuchs. Thank you so much for joining us, Ben.
Well, thank you so much for wanting me to. It's an honor. And I'm a pharmacist. I can't make a claim to being a physician, but I'm a pharmacist. I work in medicine. I'm a medicine man, literally.
Medicine man.
Oh my. I'm a little more holistic and new agey when it comes to my medicine. That's not to say I don't believe in all the major.
No, I'm a nutritional pharmacist. I use nutritional pharmacy. I use nutrients where other pharmacists and healthcare professionals use drugs. So I specialize in working with nutrition. My real specialty is skincare, and I got into skincare because I saw how people's skin improved when I started to use nutritional supplements to help people with their blood pressure and their weight and their various health challenges. I noticed that their skin would improve, and it dawned on me that the same nutrition that was helping people with their internal conditions was helping people with their skin. So I got into the skincare business. And now I formulate nutritional products for the skin, nutritional topical products.
Yes.
Interesting.
And it is extremely interesting. And I was very grateful because that you're coming on today. I've been having some issues, and I'm not asking for a diagnosis, but I was hoping maybe you could shine a light on some of like, I used to be big, like Dr. Ben. I almost called you Doctor again. Ben, I've been skinny for how long? I've been skinny now for Alex?
Since yeah, about longer than a year. I'd say about 14, 15 months. Yeah.
14, 15 months. I used to be 280 pounds. I am now, I'm now 180 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And in a place, thank you. And in a place where I used to have fantastic skin, like I'd never catch a zit, like that was never been my bag since I was like 16 years old. But I've noticed, and my wife has noticed too, that ever since I've lost all the weight, and she's been attributing to the fact that like things are able to finally bust through. There's not like this 1,000-layer epidermis.
That's cute. That's clever. That's clever. But I wouldn't say that's the case. Were you? Did you use medication to get rid of the weight, or how did you get rid of the weight?
Keto. I did keto.
You went keto. Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
I'm not doing keto any longer now. I just kind of maintain what I eat, and I'm just very observant of how much I put in my body and how much my body needs to use up before I eat again. It used to be like I'd use food as my boredom killer, right? I love food.
I hear you.
Still, to this day, I still have a problem with, I need to stop right now. The way I solve that is by watching my 600-pound life. So if you watch a couple episodes of that, you don't want to touch food. Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Yeah. It shows you how out of control weight can get. Yeah. But like nowadays, even when I wash my skin with the appropriate soaps, I try to use all natural soaps. I try to like be
it's
very
not a topical thing. That's a really interesting. No, that's why I got into the business, was to clear up a lot of baloney that's out there in the world of skincare, in the world of skin in general. Skin conditions occur from the inside out. Like as would make sense. The skin's an organ of the body. So it responds to things like an organ. That is nutrition, that is toxicity, and that is emotional and psychological issues. Those are the main parameters that control all of our health, whether you're talking about cancer or heart disease, or whether you're talking about acne, or whether you're talking about eczema or a skin condition. It's So you want to focus always, always, always on nutrition, number one, toxicity, number two, and much of the toxicity that comes into our system comes in through the digestive tract. In fact, most of it, in fact, all of it, unless you're injecting things through your skin. Other than that, the only toxicity comes in through foods. Occasionally, people breathe things in, but for the most part, it's foods. And then thirdly, and never underestimate this when it comes to the health of the body or the appearance of the skin, is psychology. And by psychology, I'm talking spirituality, I'm talking mental, and I'm talking emotional. In fact, those are the four dimensions of healing that always need to be addressed. And not addressing those four dimensions accounts for our collective poor health. In this country, I think you guys are in the UK, and it's just as bad as over there. Are you domestic? Are you UK?
I'm American. Alex is from the UK.
So the UK is very similar to the United States. Is that we're very unhealthy. We're among the most unhealthiest, in fact, maybe the most unhealthiest culture in the history of the world, despite the fact that we have more doctors per capita than any other culture, more devices, more diagnostics, more insurance, more drugs, more surgeries, more of everything when it comes to health. But we're sicker than ever before. And it's because we're not addressing the spiritual, mental, emotional components, as well as what I call the fourfold square of health, which is nutrition, movement, rest, and respiration. Between all of those elements, you have no medicine. You have no drugs. You know, it's interesting. I told you as a pharmacist, and immediately I could see you're heading towards the world of pharmacy, which is medicine. I got into pharmacy because I wanted to help people. And as soon as I found out that I was dispensing drugs, I made my egress. I exit stage left, and I went into nutrition, and I went into understanding all of the dimensions of healing. And that's why we're not as healthy as we should be, because we're not leveraging, taking advantage of all of these systems: the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical, in terms of the fourfold square of health, which, as I say, is movement, rest, nutrition, and oxygen or respiration. And so as far as your skin goes, I'm guessing that you're dealing with a nutritional issue, either probably a nutritional deficiency, and B, some kind of toxicity issue. Now, there may be the other dimensions, the spiritual, mental, emotional dimensions. I'm not going to go there, but from a purely physical perspective, there's nutrition that's involved, and there's also toxicity that's involved, which is toxicity through the digestive tract. Food conditions, dairy allergies, peanut allergies, what's called leaky gut syndrome. I don't know if you've heard of this condition called leaky gut syndrome, where toxins get into the blood. They're behind all skin issues: eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, acne, even dry skin and aging skin, which we consider to be normal. They become normalized because so many people have dry skin and aging issues, hyperpigmentation, wrinkles, thinning skin, etc. Even those can be laid on the doorstep of nutritional deficiencies and toxicities. So what I do, in addition to formulating products, and I have a line of skincare products, which I think you guys saw on my website, is I educate. And it's funny you said doctor, because the true meaning of the word doctor is educator. A doctor is a teacher, like doctrine. You know, a doctrine is a teaching. The real meaning of a doctor is an educator. A good doctor doesn't just dispense drugs. A good doctor doesn't just carve you up. A good doctor tells you what's happening, educates you so you can be your own. The way I look at it is, I want to teach you to be your own doctor. I want you to make your own diagnosis. It's funny because the medical community owns diagnosis. Well, guess what? Your diagnosis doesn't matter. Your diagnosis is just a word. It's just a description. So fibromyalgia, for example, just means you have muscle pain. Multiple sclerosis, for example, means you just have hardening in various parts of your body. What we call diagnoses, they don't tell us anything. They're just a description of what's happening in your what's happening. So you go to the doctor, you say, "Oh, my muscles hurt." He goes, "Oh, you have fibromyalgia." What does that mean? It means your muscles hurt. Yeah, that's what diagnosis is. It's the silliest thing. Our bodies, in addition to that, the diagnosis is irrelevant because our bodies break down generically. No matter what the disease is, the same mechanisms, whether it's happening in the nerves and you call it multiple sclerosis, it's happening in the blood vessels, you call it atherosclerosis, whether it's happening in the joints and you call it arthritis, or whether it's happening in the skin and you call it psoriasis, it's all the same mechanism, and that is cells. The living cells underneath the skin or in the joints or in the blood vessels or wherever the sickness happens to occur are somehow not getting what they need. It's not a fancy science. It's just the cells are not getting what they need. Or in combination with toxicity. They're getting the stuff they don't need and they're not getting the stuff they do need. It's really that simple. All of health.
Go on, Tom.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it logical?
Yeah. Oh, I love your energy, Ben. I'm sorry. You're absolutely so infectious. Oh my God. I love that. I mean, you just exploded onto the show. I love that so much.
I get very, I love human beings. I have dedicated my life to helping humanity. I don't want to see human beings suffer, and I know they don't have to suffer. I've been in the healing business now for 35 years. I've seen people who had cancer not have cancer. I've seen people who had autoimmune diseases not have autoimmune diseases. I've seen people suffering with skin problems not have skin problems. I've seen what the human body is capable of, and I am very passionate about showing people or explaining to people that they don't have to suffer, that our suffering is voluntary. And so, yes, I am very passionate about it. And it's interesting. I love the word passion. It's one of my favorite words. I love words in general, but passion is one of my favorite words. You know what the opposite of passion is? Etymologically, word-wise.
Lazy or lethargy? No.
I know. I see where you're working, but check out the word passion, right? The opposite of passion is action.
Okay.
Isn't this interesting? Passion comes from the root passive, P-A-S-S, pass, right? Action is the opposite of passive, act to act and to be passive.
Okay.
So we say, what the heck is that about? Why, when I hear somebody's passionate, I don't see them being passive. When you're passionate, you're being pulled by something. It's out of your control. A really passionate person is being pulled by his beloved. It's no longer about him. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is what it means to be a passionate person. Something you love is pulling you. And so that's right. I am passionate in the sense that what I love is the human being. What I love is the human body. What I love is life. And so, yes, I am passionate about that because I want people to have life and have life abundantly, have more life, have a quality of life, have a great life. And that's what makes me passionate. Now, passion, by the way, passion also comes from the word means to suffer, like the passion of the Christ.
Yeah.
And it also means to suffer. And sometimes it's suffering when you're really passionate about something. It costs you. And this is why people don't like to feel passion. That's why sometimes people would rather check out of life than be passionate because there's a certain suffering that's associated with passion. To me, I think, Plato said, or Socrates said, the unexamined life is a life not worth living. To me, the unpassionate life is a life that's not worth living.
So in your opinion then, because you mentioned cancer, and that's something I happen to be very intimately familiar with. I had a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at a very young age. I was 16 and I had non-Hodgkin's. I had to go through two different big regimens of treatments to get rid of it. I went through chemotherapy for a year and then I went through radiation through almost a year. Are you saying that my body could have taken care of that by itself, or?
Cancer is a very interesting thing. A cancer, first of all, there's no such thing as an organ cancer. There's no such thing as breast cancer. There's no such thing as prostate cancer. There's no such. I got that, Tom. I could see you say, "What the heck's he talking about?" Right? There's no such thing as brain cancer. There's no such thing as pancreatic cancer. There's no such thing as skin cancer. What there is, check this out. Okay, this is really an important distinction. There is skin cell cancer. There's prostate cell cancer. There's breast cell cancer. There's brain cell cancer. There's blood cell cancer. Now, why is this important? It's not just semantic, okay? Because if we think the cancer is taking place at the organ level, we're out of luck. There's nothing we can do. We can only remove the organ or poison the organ or figure out a way to kill the organ or somehow radiate it or electrocute it or somehow do something to the organ, and it's a very tough road to hoe. But if we understand that the cancer is occurring at the level of the cell, now all we have to do is figure out how do we address the cell. And the good news is that a cell has been on planet Earth for 3.5 billion years. And in that 3.5 billion years, that cell has developed a menu with which it likes to eat from, a very narrow menu. There's not a lot of things that can go wrong with a cell. A cell can only be starved, a cell can only be toxic, and a cell can only be suffocated. Those are the only three things that can go wrong with a cell. And a cancer cell is a cell that has been suffocated, toxic, and starved for so long that it doesn't know what else to do. So in order to understand what I just said, you got to understand that there's two kinds of cells. There are advanced cells and there's primitive cells. Advanced cells are cells that have lots of parts to them. They have lots of lots of detoxification strategies associated with them. They divide very carefully. And most importantly, an advanced cell is a cell that gives up its life, its independence, I should say, for the life of the organ. So an advanced cell, an advanced liver cell, is no longer it's independent. It contributes itself to the liver. A cancer cell is a cell that is has been starving for so long, has been suffocated for so long, has been toxic for so long, that instead of being an advanced cell that gives up of its life for the life of the liver or the life of the pancreas or the life of the whatever organ you're talking about, it now says, screw you, I am going to go off on my own, and I am now going to divide because you didn't take care of me for so long. So now I'm just going to go and divide. And it goes backwards in time to a point where it never became an organ. Old primitive cells don't become organs. Primitive cells are like bacteria. They just divide and they divide and they divide, and they don't care about the organ anymore. They're sociopathic cells. They're literally. In order for a cell to be a liver, it has to contribute to the community. It has to dedicate itself to the organ. A cancer cell is like, screw you. I am now going off and dividing because you didn't care about me for so long. And it just divides and it divides and it divides. And when it's dividing that fast, it doesn't have a chance to have substructures. So it doesn't have a chance to become advanced. And all it knows how to do is divide. And that's what a cancer cell is. A cancer cell is an advanced cell that has gone back in time. So it's more like a bacteria and a primitive cell. And this costs it the ability to become an organ. And that's what a cancer cell is. The bottom line is it's the end result of long-term duress, long-term toxicity, long-term starvation, and long-term suffocation. Now, red blood cells are a little bit, most cancers occur in older people or in people who have been toxic for a very toxic, starving, and under duress for a long period of time. Blood cancers are a little bit different. Kids get blood cancers. And you said you were 16, I think, when you got
16, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Because the cells of the immune system, the white blood cells, and the cells of the blood, it's mostly the white blood cells actually, they divide extremely rapidly. So they can get under duress. They can come under duress even at an early age, and that's why kids will get lymphomas. But guess what? Kids recover often from lymphomas as well, because the kids' immune systems are stronger and they haven't been abused as long as older people. Prognosis for a child with cancer is much better than a prognosis for an older person who has cancer, because the older person has been contaminating the system for a very long period of time. So usually almost always cancer will be involved with duress. Now, not just physical duress. Remember, we talked about the multiple dimensions. There's psychological duress. There is mental duress, emotional duress, as well as spiritual connection. So the answer to your question is yes. I have a book, a textbook called Spontaneous Remissions from Cancer, which is case studies of people who have remitted spontaneously from cancer. And it happens about once every 100,000 cases or so. It's not common, but if one person can do it, spontaneously remit, that means the body is capable of spontaneous remission. That means anybody can do it. All right? Even if they tell you you have a 95% chance, pancreatic cancer, they'll tell you you have a 95% chance of dying in 18 months. Well, guess what? That means you have a 5% chance of not dying in 18 months. You understand? So if you have a 95% chance of dying in 18 months, you have a 5% chance of not dying in 18 months. So that means there will be people whose bodies can deal with cancers. Not only that, but cancers appear in everybody. We all have cancers, but our body usually takes care of that. I'm sorry, you were going to say something, Doc.
But what's the difference in the ratio between people that actually get treatment? You say there might be a 5% chance that somebody could potentially do it by themselves, but what's the statistics for somebody that actually goes through treatment, such as myself?
No, I didn't say 5. I didn't say 5% without treatment. There's a 5% chance even with treatment, but there are cases of spontaneous remission. It's not common. Okay, it doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. And if the biological system is capable, in other words, if the body is capable, even once in a million, if the body has that chemistry that will allow it to spontaneously remit, that means it can happen in anybody. It's part of our capability. The human body is capable of that. I'm not saying it happens all the time. Say that again.
Potentially, but Alex, you're going to say
potentially correct. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but if it can happen in one person, that means that the body has that capability.
Have you? I mean, obviously, you've been doing this for a long time now, and I see you're very active with the radio station and with the products you release and the people you help. Are there people that you've helped in these situations holistically that have improved with sort of cancer and
with cancer? Yeah, I haven't dealt with a lot of people who have had cancer. A couple things about that. I haven't dealt with a lot of people that have had cancer. I've dealt with a couple who've had cancer, and yes. One in particular stands out, a young guy who had colon cancer who made a recovery from it. He had stage 3 colon cancer. So I've seen it happen personally once, but I don't deal with a lot of people who have cancer. By the time somebody has cancer, not kids usually, but by the time an older person has cancer, so much has been going on in their life that it's really you got to make massive changes in your life. So what I tell people, God forbid you get cancer, right? It's this horrific diagnosis. I can't even imagine what goes through somebody's mind when they hear it. Your job is to live day to day and every day to feel good. Forget about the future. We're all living under this sword of Damocles. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We're all living under this sword that's going to drop down. We never know when. Our job is not to somehow cure cancer. Our job is to have the body feel good. And the way you do that is the same thing you do as if you have arthritis, the same thing you do if you have an autoimmune disease, the same thing you do if you have any health challenge. You put the good stuff in and you keep the bad stuff out. And you work on yourself mentally and emotionally, and you make sure you're connected to God. Or, I say God, but I don't want anybody to be thrown off by that. You connect it to the force, to the life force, and make sure every day you're living strong, you're living powerfully, you're making a difference in the world, you're doing what you can do to have a high quality of life. Don't look at we become obsessed with the future, and we become obsessed with our diagnosis. What we want to be obsessed with is a quality of life. And so you live every day to the maximum of your ability, and let chips fall where they may in the future, because nobody knows what's going to happen. I don't have cancer, but I could die tomorrow, and somebody who has cancer could outlive me. We don't know what's next. We don't know what's 1 minute away, let alone 1 month or 1 year away. Yeah. So every day, live maximally. Make a difference in the world. Be positive. I like that. Be a force for good. That's what I tell people who have cancer. When they come
sunny today, and I bought cider. I'm definitely living for that life.
What kind of cider? What kind of cider?
See, he has to ask the question, and that's what this whole show is about.
Copperberg, just
now, Ben, this is the first thing that actually started the show. By the way, was we had a conversation one day where he said, "I'm drinking cider," and I'm like, "Oh, cool! I love apple cider. I'm from Vermont, and we have a ton of fucking apples and apple orchards and all that good shit." So he's like, "I'm having cider." I'm like, "Oh, cool! I love cider. I give my kids cider," and he kind of looks at me like, "What'd you say?" And because we figured out that they're two totally different things. Now. Right. You're obviously a very knowledgeable dude. Where does it all start for you, sir?
Where do
you start from? What led you to where you are now?
My bad childhood. My traumatic childhood. I learned at a very young age that I got to figure out the psychological component of life. That I got to make my life is going to be what I make it. I had a very traumatic childhood where I was when you're a kid, you're dependent, right? So I was in the situation where I didn't have control over my life as a kid. And, God loved my parents. They were beautiful people, but they didn't know how to raise kids. And so I was raised in a way where my independence was taken away from me. So I remember one day when I was a little kid, about 5 years old, I went to my mom's bookcase and I pulled out a book. I can still remember the day. I can remember the smell of the wood. I can remember the house. I can remember so much. Picked out this book, and it was called Between Parent and Child, and it was a book on child rearing. And they talked about how you raise your kid. And I remember I discovered this thing called psychology. I didn't know what it was, but I discovered that there was a way that you could control your mind. There was a way you could be taught. There was a way that you could have a little bit of control over not your life, but how you responded to your life. And from that point forward, from that age forward, I became just obsessed with figuring out how my mind worked. And I'm reaping the benefits now. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a paragon of virtue in any way, shape, or form, but I do know that my life is much more about my response to my environment, my response to my circumstances, than it is about my environment and my circumstances. And I think that is the most powerful lesson that we can learn in life, that how we don't have control over what shows up, but we have control over over our response to what shows up. And that, to me, that's the message that I want to get out to people, is we don't have a control over viruses in the world, but we have control over how our body responds to viruses. We don't have control over how the circumstances that our life shows up in. Our circumstances are our circumstances, but we have some control over how we respond to those circumstances. And that's how it all developed for me. And I spend literally every single day of my life studying and learning, not just about the body, although I love studying about the body, not just chemistry and biology, which I love, but about the mind and about spirituality and about our mental and emotional natures.
I've been learning, me and Tom, and we've been learning this year about spirituality and the power of the mind. And I do another show as well called the Shrewsbury Biscuit. So I do speak to a lot of people. The Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. It's I live in a town called Shrewsbury, birthplace of Charles Darwin. Nice. We spoke to many amazing people that talk about the power of the mind and spirituality. Okay, because the way I explain it is I was a bit of a cynic when it came to that shit, right? Because I was kind of like, well, I've never seen it happen, so obviously it's not true because I'm a sociopath, right? But I've spoken to a lot of people, and Peter Bedard was one of the guys that we spoke to that absolutely like his.
Say his name again.
Peter Bedard is from Convergence Teas.
Okay.
He's I think
Bedard. I'm going to look him up.
Yes, please do, because he was a found dancer who destroyed his body. He was a terrible accident. And,
Peter Bedard. I was on his show.
Bedard, yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, he's amazing. He's amazing. I had him on my show too, and we were on each other's show. Yes, he's an amazing man. He had a near-death experience, and wonderful human being. Yeah, absolutely
amazing guy. And his conversation with me and Tom, both me and Tom throughout the whole conversation were like, "No fucking way!" He's got an amazing story. And a couple of weeks ago, I spoke to an amazing lady on the Shrewsbury Biscuit called June Meager, and she's been doing this for 40 years. 40 years she's been training about meditation, spirituality. Nice. She's been doing this. She's trained some of the biggest names in the UK that are doing this. And I've learned so much. This year, I have learned to meditate. I've learned to meditate.
Awesome.
Honestly, I've had some real breakthrough moments. I'm not going to sit there and say I'm a meditation expert, but I now know how to do it.
That's so cool. That's so cool. To me, it's the single most important thing you could do for your health is meditate. Mm-hmm. And I've had a meditation practice for many, many years, and I crave it. I don't. Sometimes when I meditate, I don't want to stop. I have to force myself to stop. It is the most delicious. I don't understand how not everybody does it, because it's like a vacation for your mind. It's like. It
really is.
It's the most beautiful thing, right? It's like your mind, a hot tub for your mind. It is the coolest, most beautiful experience. And so much of as we said earlier, so much of our health challenges are mental and emotional because of duress. When you think a crappy thought, you make crappy hormones. And when you make crappy hormones, your body shuts down. You have a hormone called cortisol. I'm sure you guys have heard of this hormone called cortisol. It's a stress hormone that shuts down your immune system. Well, when you get a credit card bill and you can't pay it and you're freaked out, your cortisol goes up and your immune system goes down. Your girlfriend breaks up with you, or your mother yells at you, or your boss fires you, whatever it is, your cortisol goes up, your immune system goes down. Meditation is one of the best ways to lower cortisol. It's one of the ultimate way to lower cortisol, to increase your life. It's so many benefits to meditation from a physiologic perspective, but just not even physiologic, just for the mind, to chill out. Just to take a nice break. It's the most beautiful experience. Right? I mean, I can see Alex smiling. I know what you're feeling it, right? It's the most beautiful thing.
And that's why I smoke weed, because I get that every single time, and it doesn't take meditation. Fortunately,
I know what you're saying. And I smoke pot. I smoked a lot of pot. I haven't smoked in many years. Well, no, I haven't smoked in about 20 years, but I did smoke a lot of pot. So I'm very experienced with the stoned experience. Being stoned is like a pale imitation of meditating, because when you meditate, I'll tell you why. When you meditate, you get all the benefits of being stoned, the creativity, the peace of mind, the relaxation. But when you're done meditating, you feel great. How do you feel after you've been stoned? You can't say you feel great. At least I can't say I did. that I felt great after I smoked, 2 or 3 hits. I might have feel great for a little bit, but then a couple hours later, I can't say I was feeling great. Can you?
I can actually, because I've been doing it for such a long period of time. And the thing is, like, I actually took it off for the month of Lent. Me and Alex made a gentleman's bet.
We failed, by the way. We failed miserably.
Someone failed, and someone just kind of went along with his best friend because he was like, I don't want him to go through this alone. I might as well get high.
It was St. Patrick's Day, and I was kind of like, whoa,
I love
you guys are young still. I'm guessing you're not 40 yet. Either of you guys are 40, right?
I'm 33.
Okay,
I'm working. I'm 34, yeah, so I'm working on it.
You guys are kids, so you haven't really been smoking that long, unless you start when you're 10 or something.
I actually started when I was 12.
Okay, so you've been smoking a while.
I don't smoke.
Not hacking?
No, I don't. No. I became responsible. I vape.
Yeah.
Yep. I vape, but I still smoke flower. I grow my own flower. That's how it works in Vermont. You have to actually like cultivate your own cannabis. We don't have dispensaries and none of that. So
I see.
All my cannabis is fully organic. I grow in my basement. I control everything that goes into it. I take like 2 or 3 rips, and that's pretty much it. And that's one of the things that Lent did for me was it brought my tolerance way down. I've been smoking for so long that my tolerance was all the way up here. And now it's so little that when I do take a few hits, I feel good. I feel relaxed, and I feel like the sun's a little brighter. And I understand that meditation can do that for you. But like the moment I get up with my hectic life that I live, the kids, the wife, the job, the first thing I do is get up and go.
Are you wake and bake?
Generally not anymore. I used to be like every couple hours I'd rip, except at work where, I obviously wouldn't. But like my days off and shit would be consumed by it. Now it's like those 3 hits that you just saw me take are the ones that I'm going to take until probably bedtime. So just because
that was pot that you were vaping.
Oh, well, not vaping. What I was smoking in my pipe.
How concentrated? How much THC? Do you know? Is it like 20?
Yeah. It's like I was growing blueberries, so that's like a 75% THC. They're pretty high now.
Come on.
Yeah.
What?
75. Yeah. I mean, we don't fuck around, man.
When I was a kid, you'd be lucky to get 10%. I can't even. I can't even imagine. They used to have they used to have this green stuff, and we would think it was the greatest thing ever because it wasn't brown and seedy, and you have no idea what pot used to look like back in the day. Like
I do actually. My mom's a 65-year-old lady, and she's been enjoying cannabis since she was 18. She's told me everything, and she used to get some of the shittiest weed.
It was the crappiest. Oh my god, it's crappy.
Alex, you have not said anything in a long time. Let me give you the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is where me and Tom differ, and this is why I love doing what we do. So I don't smoke weed. I don't. I used to when I was younger, but it was very much a young Alex thing. Plus, one of the biggest sort of influences for me is my wife is Colombian. She doesn't like drugs, so out of honor for her, I stay away from drugs because the whole Pablo Escobar kind of thing, it kind of has a shadow over many Colombians, so she stays away from all that shit. Right? So, when it came to meditation for me, it's very unexpected, and it took me to places that I'd never thought I would even think about. Never mind go. The first time I ever did it, so I practiced a few times, never really got there. I found a really good app. I've got it on my phone. I've forgotten what it's called because I don't use it anymore. Let me find it.
Headspace.
Where is it called? What's it called?
I've meditated when I did yoga. I've done hot yoga a few times. I've done like regular yoga a few times. If I've ever like actually experienced meditating, it's in those situations. I do better meditating with a group. What's up?
I was gonna say there's a difference between thinking and knowing you're thinking or watching your thinking. Like to think a thought, that's a very important distinction. We all think. Nobody doesn't think. But to actually turn the thinking process around and to watch the thinking process is extremely powerful because what happens is you create this feedback. You actually see the thought process happening and you become disassociated from the thought. So you're not attached to the thought as much. We lose our lives in the sense that we spend them thinking all the time. But when we watch our thoughts, it creates this sense of disconnection where all of a sudden you're there, but you're not thinking. You're watching the thinking. You've separated yourself from the thought process, And that is a very powerful place to be.
Very powerful indeed, because like it's called Let's Meditate, by the way, what I use. It's just a little app. It was just a little bit of music and breathe in.
Breathe out.
And breathe out. You know, one of them sort of things. So that was like my training wheels, that app was, and I remember like it was like I was still living at my mother-in-law's, which is more context for Tom than anything else. This was last year in the summer, and I was sat, like the sun was coming through the blinds, there was a breeze. I was sat on the bed, and I went into meditation. And whereas I tried before, I was kind of like, well, nothing's happening. This time, I had completely centered myself, and I was 14 or 15, and I was in the Army Cadets, and we'd spent hours putting together this huge tent, and the adults, they were like, right, you got half an hour to chill out before whoever's going to use the tent's going to turn up. Just lay around in the grass. And I went and lay on my own inside the tent, and I was lying just watching the sun peering through the cracks in the thing, watching the wind come sort of take the tent in and inhale and exhale, and I was there. The weirdest, most random place where I could possibly go.
Alex, you were just 14?
I was that was where I went during meditation. That's where
you went. I see what you're saying. Yeah. You went back to 14. So it was the most beautiful thing, wasn't it?
It was just relaxing. It was that moment where we were all like breathing out of our ass because we just put this tent up, and then we got this moment of calm where we can relax again, and that's where I'd gone to.
Isn't that beautiful? You just when you get to that state, you're anti-aging. You're fighting disease. Your bones and your connective tissue are growing. You're forming more neural connections. Your heart is functioning better. Your excretory organs are functioning better. Your skin is clearing toxins. All the benefits of physiology are being upregulated when you get into that meditative state. It's the single most important thing you could do to support biological, physiologic health. And so we were talking about cancer earlier, one of the most powerful things you could do to deal with cancer, I'm not saying it's a cure for cancer, but to deal with cancer is to start a meditation practice. And one of the most powerful therapies for dealing with cancer is to do what football players do. What do football players do before they go out to a game? And I'm picking on football players, but baseball players and golfers and basketball players, all performance athletes, they visualize. They picture where they want to be. They picture what they want to happen using visualization techniques. We want to learn to live our lives like performance athletes, because we are performance athletes, because just getting your butt out of bed in the morning is a performance athletic event. Just doing your day is a performance athletic event. And guess what? The Seattle Seahawks, they meditate. The Chicago Bulls, they meditated. High-powered performance athletes whose livelihoods depend on how well they perform understand meditation and understand visualization. So this is much more than just some kind of airy-fairy sort of, new age hippy-dippy kind of thing. Yes, go ahead.
So do you assume that's maybe why nostalgia is such a big thing in people's lives, because it makes us feel good and it kind of like translates?
You know what the word nostalgia means? Nostalgia. Algia is pain. Nostalgia means pain for home. Nost means home.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's what the word nostalgia means. So you're saying, do you think nostalgia is good? Nostalgia is actually painful. It means homesickness.
Okay, fair enough. But what I'm trying to say, I guess, is like the way that Alex goes back to a great memory when he was 14 in the Army Cadets, and you're agreeing that type of situation makes your body feel better. I feel that nostalgia does the same thing. When you go back and rewatch the movies that you like, when you go back to places that you love.
When I feel nostalgic, I feel nostalgic for the 90s sometimes. You guys were kids in the 90s, right? Do you feel that way too, the 90s? It seems like that, right? But I find that it's almost not comfortable. There's something like I miss it. Like I want, right? It's not I wouldn't say it's a good feeling necessarily. It's a good feeling. What I remember about the 90s was good, but I wish I was back there. I want to. When I see those things, I'm like, God, I want to be back in the 90s. For me, also the 70s. I want to be back in the 70s. So I don't know necessarily that going back to that time period is necessarily a good thing, unless it makes you feel good. Because it seems to me like when I go back there, there's a kind of ambivalence. It's good, but I wish I was there. I miss it.
one of the best things about this show is we've managed to kind of like make this really nice neutral ground when it comes to terms like that, because you say it's kind of painful and long, but what we've done with the show is we bring like our nostalgia to us. That's one of the greatest benefits that we've actually accomplished. As
relive it.
Yeah, we get to relive it by talking about it with the people that influence those parts in our lives. That's like once again the greatest thing about doing the show. A couple weeks ago we had Billy West on. He was one of our favorite voice actors in one of our favorite adult cartoon shows growing up.
He was the Simpsons.
No, he was on Futurama. Futurama. He did all those characters. A very, very awesome dude. And by talking to him, it was like reliving some of my favorite stuff, but in a positive, futuristic way, and not so much dwelling on the past. It's like a weird, happy medium.
It's like exactly. There's like both sides to it, because it's delicious. Like when I think about the '90s, God, I miss the '90s, you know. But then on the other hand, I wish I had a time machine. You know, I want to be back in the '90s. I want to be 30.
I feel that sometimes too. I do feel like when you hear a song and you're like, oh my God, no responsibilities, no bills to pay, no job to go to, no kids to run around after.
I know. But you know what's funny is, you know, don't you feel like your dad or something would say something like that? Like when you were growing up, he would say, "Oh, it's so much fun."
Turn that music down.
You know, so I wonder if every generation says that. Like somebody's going to actually think 2021 was nostalgic. You know, somebody in 2050 will say, "I remember it was so peaceful and we had freedom and we could travel wherever we wanted back in 2021 and 2020. And now everything's all the Matrix and, you know, everything's all controlled." Can you picture that in the future? Like in the future, it's going to be so controlled that the time we're living in now is going to be something you're nostalgic for. As miserable as it's going to be, this is going to be the time that you're nostalgic for.
I feel like when you speak about the version of nostalgia, you know, the kind of the pain, the longing to be back in that bubble. You know, I wish I could have just stayed at home and listened to my music, be surrounded by the movies and the games and the things that I love, and order Domino's, as much Domino's as I could possibly afford. You know, like when people think about lockdown and what happened, people are going to be wanting them ties back, because I'm not being funny, but the last couple of weeks I've been out and about doing things, and I've realized I kind of fucking hate people. They're just terrible.
You know, did you ever hear of Sartre, Jean-Paul Sartre, the philosopher? He's a French philosopher. He said, "Hell is other people."
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, see, I like other people, but I don't like doing things per se. Like, I love doing things with my family, and I think that has a lot to do with, you know, kind of raising my kids to, you know, be people themselves, which really takes all the attention and focus away from things that I truly enjoy. I get this. I have a 6-year-old soon to be 7, or no, 5-year-old soon to be 6, a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old.
3 kids. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. I like to fuck, and I have really bad pull-out games. So
it's not necessary to have kids just because you like to have sex.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, there are things you can do, but I mean,
let's
like,
just roll those dice.
Pretty much, you know, it's fun to live dangerously, I guess. And you know what? The outcome of it wasn't like, you know, the usual one, like, oh, should I, you know, I had a couple of drinks, should I drive, that type of thing. It's more of like, well, the worst thing that's going to happen throughout this whole situation is we have a whole new, like, person to love and something that grows our family. Yeah. So it's like the best of the worst outcomes.
You want more kids?
No, I got myself a vasectomy because, I'm smart, Ben. I like money too.
That's enough. Yes, I do. I have 4, so I got 3 with my ex.
4 kids?
Yeah. I was young, and all I ever wanted when I was younger was a family. So I had my first 18. With the wrong girl though, so we had 3 with her, and I am now with my wife. We've got our own a child as well, so they come to see me and stuff. My other 3. So yeah.
What do you guys do for work? What do you guys do for financials?
I'm a support worker. I work with like vulnerable young adults that have come out of care,
very cool,
care leavers and stuff. Yeah.
And I work at a manufacturing plant where we make helmets for soldiers.
Oh, is that right? In Vermont?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're like an armor ballistics type company. We make helmets, we make, you know, body armor, that type of thing.
Are helmets really high tech now?
Yeah, they're made of like you know, like interesting plastics and shit. It's really interesting. Like I used to mold the helmets, and that's the process on how you make a helmet from a bunch of material into a ballistic helmet that can take a shot from a bullet or shrapnel, what have you. And it's all like material. It's very interesting, very intricate.
Are they wired like electronically, and are they like information processors built into them and stuff?
That's something I don't think I can talk about per se, but I can say that that's the type of technology that's definitely out there. Usually when you have a helmet, you'd have a HUD system, you'd have a body armor, which tells you which way shots are coming from, that type of thing.
Like universal soldier shit, like
essentially anything you see on Call of Duty, I'm sure there's a version of that somewhere out there. Yeah, absolutely. So
the military has gotten so it's like alien technology or something.
No, you'd be amazed. Like, have you ever seen how a snowboard's made by chance?
No.
Well, and I say this because I've done both. I made snowboards for Burton Manufacturers. They're one of the biggest snowboard companies in the world. Also happen to be Vermont locals. Not anymore, of course. They sent their business overseas because they love Vermont. Anyways, while they were here, they had a factory down in Burlington.
Vermont too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I didn't love Vermont for a long time. It took me to become. Are you not? I'm from New York, actually.
I'm from New York too.
Oh, really? We're in New York.
Queens.
See, you're from real New York. I'm from Poughkeepsie, like the bastard stepchild of New York. That's like an hour away. You never want to see me. Right. You know, you kind of send your garbage and shit. Yeah.
Now you're all in New England. Now you're all in New England.
Yep, my dad was an IBMer. He got shipped up here, you know, for the prosperity of better jobs, but higher taxes. So regardless, I made snowboards, and really all it is just, you know, stacking a material. It starts off with the bottom of the snowboard, which is like a vinyl thing, and then a bunch of fiberglass, and eventually a wood core, some slots for the bindings guard, and then top graphic, and all these very loose things by themselves are very fragile. Stacked together, put with enough heat and enough resin, and all of a sudden, bam, you have something that can take you off 20-foot jumps and whatnot.
Wow.
So it's a process similar to that.
Do you board? Obviously, you board.
Yes. I don't get to board as much as I'd like to because obviously houses don't pay for themselves. Last time I checked. Yeah.
Does your wife work?
Yeah. She's the smart one. She actually gets paid really well for what she does.
Yeah. Nice. I don't mean to be interviewing you, but
no, you're good. I love talking, baby.
I love that you're doing what you're doing. Like you don't have to do this, but you're motivating to express yourself, to try to make the world a little bit better, to promote it, bring information out to the world. That's really cool that you're doing that. I love your generation. I'm fascinated with millennials and with Zoomers. You know about the Zoomers, like the generation to come. You guys are going to change the world. I love your energy. I love that you don't buy into bullshit. You hate bullshit. As a generation, I'm not trying to lump everybody into one.
No. We're not that PC, Ben. We're all good.
Okay, as a generation, you're really purpose driven. You're really dedicated to making a difference and to having a mission and to having sharing a message with the world and making the world a better place. The boomers, like I'm at the end of the boomer, beginning of Gen X kind of thing. We really fucked things up. Yeah, I owe you an apology. On behalf of my generation, I want to apologize. But it's really beautiful to see what you guys are doing. I have a business, my skin business, where I hire a lot of millennials and a lot of Zoomers. And it's just a pleasure to work with that kind of mindset where you understand how to use technology. You want to use technology for good. And look at you guys. You're spending a Saturday doing a podcast. You could be doing anything, going out and doing whatever you want. You're sitting here trying to promote, make the world a better place, to share information, to promote messages and ideas that help make the world a better place. It's really cool.
This is why I love working with TV Guestbit, because the wide array, they're amazing. Jackie's amazing.
Yeah, she is amazing.
Jackie Jordan, I know her because she's got family in Shrewsbury, and they were like, you should speak to Jackie Jordan. We don't know. And so we started speaking. It's been a year now, and we've been working with TV Guestbit, and we've learned so much. And I love doing what we do because I've just come from a safari park now. I've been out for the whole day in the sun, which is why I'm like drinking cider and enjoy it because I've had a great day with the family. I'm kind of celebrating the fact that we've been able to go out and have a great day, right? But I'm still eager to come and speak to you, Ben, because I love finding out about people. It's all about taking your story and letting people hear that, because I think it's very important that people hear about you, and what you're doing with your life, because you are helping people.
Thank you.
You do a great job.
I appreciate that.
So tell people about where people can find you and how people can access.
Okay, so I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats. I have a degree in broadcast journalism, actually, and I love radio. Before the internet, I just love radio. It's such a great medium to me. So I have a radio program called The Bright Side, which I do every day. I've done it every day now for 11 years, and there's tons of archives. And I call it it's a health show, but it's really an inspiring show, an inspiration show, a motivational show. I consider myself to be a motivational speaker. I had motivational speakers change my life. Anthony Robbins changed my life. Jim, old guys you probably never heard of, but guys like Brian Tracy and Jim Rohn. And there's a lot. I love motivational speakers. I always feel great after listening to a motivational speaker. And so I wanted to do that. I want to give that to people, have people be motivated to make their lives better after listening to me. And that's what The Bright Side is. It's a motivational show about health. Ostensibly, it's just about nutritional supplementation and physical health. But we talk about meditation. We talk about spirituality. We talk about the New World Order and the Matrix and, all the ways that our souls are being crushed and how you don't have to have your soul being crushed just if you're aware and you wake up to things. So I do The Bright Side, and we have archives, 11 years of archives, and it's great health information. I have a very unique way of looking at the body and a unique take on healing and on health. And so that's what The Bright Side is all about. And you can Google Pharmacist-Ben and The Bright Side. It's on YouTube, and you can check me out there. I have tons of videos. If you just Google Pharmacist-Ben, you'll get all kinds of videos. And then I also have my skincare, which I love working with skin. And I love formulating skincare products. And I developed this completely radical way of taking care of your skin topically. I had a pharmacy for many years, what's called a compounding pharmacy. And that's a pharmacy where you actually make the medicine. Usually pharmacists dispense medicine. Compounding pharmacist makes medicine. And I had a compounding pharmacy for the skin where I would create prescription medication for people who had topical problems, acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, people who had burns or people who had surgery, who wanted to prevent post-surgical scarring. I create products for them. What I discovered was when people healed their skin was more beautiful. So I turned my healing products into beauty products, and I started a company called Truth Skin Health. And I have numerous formulations that you can purchase, which were formerly prescriptions, but now they're over the counter. The reason my prescription products I could convert them into over the counter products is because I was using nutrition. I never used drugs. So all my prescription products were really topical nutrition products. So I use a lot of vitamin C, a lot of vitamin E, a lot of minerals, polyelectrolytes, and you can check those out at truthtreatments.com. We have 1,700 plus 4- and 5-star reviews, which we started gathering up last year. So in about 14 months now, we have actually 16 months. We have gathered over 1,700 4- and 5-star reviews, which you can check out at truthreviewed.com. So truthtreatments.com for my products, truthreviewed.com for the reviews. And then I also have a blog, Pharmacist-Ben.com. And I also have another website, criticalhealthnews.com, where I do interviews, and we have nutritional supplement products.
I'm not gonna lie, I gotta look that up. My wife's always into taking care of her skin, so I'm gonna have to get me some of that, Ben. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I'll tell you what, since you're such a good egg, Tom and Alex, why don't you send me your mailing address and I'll send you out some stuff.
Wow.
Awesome. Heck yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll even we'll test it out, we'll review it.
There you go.
If you can go that far for it.
The products I developed require a little bit different, a little understanding about how to apply products. You got to use them. You don't use them like regular products. So if I send them out to you, you got to promise me that you're going to call me or write me or somehow connect up with me so I can guide you through it. Because
let's do that. Let's do that.
Absolutely.
All right. What we can do is we can make a proper vlog. We can make a vlog. Oh, they've arrived.
Okay.
We'll record a conversation with you.
Okay, I like how you think there, Alex. I like that.
A millennial, right? Zoomer.
Alex, I love that you're thinking about me. See that? I'm like, I do vlog stuff. And you're like, I'm going to give Tom content because I love him.
There we
go.
Love you, buddy. What are we going to do? I would love to do that because awesome. I do like to look after my skin. First thing I do when I get a shower is I'm a bold guy. But yeah, I like to look after my skin, so I moisturize straight away. I like a nice coconut body butter. That's what I like to use. Just straight over my face, and it looks. Well,
you're gonna love the truth. In fact, I'll send you a video. I did a video for this lady. Actually, Jackie sent me made a connection with me with a TV producer, and I sent her some product, and then I made a little video for her. when I sent her the product. So I'll send you out this video. It's, I talked to her, but you guys can it'll give you a sense on how to use the product. So send me a good email for both of you, and then send your mailing address, your snail mail address, so I can send it.
Absolutely. Alex, my skin is going to be 10 times better than yours. I'm just telling you that right now for free. I really do. I think I can follow directions better than you can. Just going to say.
You're a kid, though. Alex is a year older.
Don't make excuses for him.
I wanted to ask you, because I feel like it's important, and I'm not shitting on anyone. Maybe kind of shouldn't say this. I don't know. Goop. Where do you stand with Goop?
It's the old way. It's old school.
Yeah.
Old school. All that stuff, everything is old school. I'm revolutionizing how people use skincare products. So when you compare it to other products, it's like old school. This is a whole new way of taking care of your skin. What I did, and I learned this in the pharmacy. Actually, you know what? I didn't tell you this, but when I was in, you guys heard of Blistex, the lip medicine Blistex?
Yeah. It's used for like
the guy who invented Blistex was one of my professors at pharmacy school. What? And so the Blistex research facility was in the basement of the School of Pharmacy at the University of Colorado, where I went to school. And I had this incredible experience in pharmacy school. I got to spend 4 years in the Blistex lab while getting my internship hours. While all my colleagues were getting internship hours in drugstores, I was getting my internship hours in the Blistex lab. So I learned how to heal the skin. And that's really the secret. If you can't put your favorite moisturizer or wrinkle product or anti-aging product, whatever, on a cut and have it accelerate the healing of that cut, it's not a real product. It's a baloney product. So take your Goop. The next time you have a cut, take your Goop, put it on a cut, and watch what happens. Then take my Truth Transdermal C Serum or my Truth Omega-6 Healing Cream or any of the Truth products I send you, put it on a cut and watch what happens. Shaving, cuts, or burns, or baby's diaper rash, sunburn, whatever. All my Truth treatment products are anti-aging products, but you can put them on cuts and heal those. And that's the true mark of an effective skincare product. Can it heal your skin or accelerate the healing of your skin? And if it does, then you got a real product. All my Truth treatments will accelerate the healing of broken skin.
My cheap version of anti-aging is just shave. I look about 12.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. Shaving helps stimulate new connective tissue, just the exfoliation by shaving. Yeah.
Is that why they say that your hair grows back faster when you shave it?
Kind of, sort of. When you shave, you stimulate things. But you know what exfoliation is? Have you heard that term?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Exfoliation is one of the most important things you could do to anti-age your skin, and shaving is a natural form of exfoliation.
I use one of those net poofs to wash with.
I don't know what that is.
Got to. One of those, it's like a sponge, but it's like a net all tied into.
Loofah pad, like a loofah.
Yeah, we call them loofahs. Yeah. That's lost in translation. Welcome to you.
Blast myself with that, and I feel so good afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. And it also helps stimulate your lymph. You know what your lymph is? Have you heard of your lymphatic system? Your lymphatic system is your detoxification system, and dry brushing or exfoliating with a loofah pad is a great way to stimulate lymphatic movement and drainage of toxicity. Great anti-cancer strategy, by the way. You were talking about cancer earlier. A lot of cancers are caused by clogged lymph or stagnation in the lymph, and that's dry brushing or using a loofah is a great way to move the lymph. See how there's all these great techniques and great strategies that we can leverage and take advantage of to maximize our health, and we're just not told any of these things.
I tell you what, Ben, I feel like we could do another hour with you easily. I think we should call this chapter 1. What do you reckon?
Okay, let's call this we'll do a chapter 2 after you get your products. And a little bit, we'll do a chapter 2.
Let's do that, please, because I feel like I could chat to you. Chapter 2 with Ben Fuchs. Ben Fuchs. There we go. Written down. And we're going to organise this because I feel like I could speak to you again for another hour. We need to get out of it, though, because Tom's like, it's date night with the wife. I want to go and get dressed up and look sexy for the wife.
Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day, guys. I'll expect an email from you. I'll put a package out, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Tell people again where they can find you, Ben.
Truth Treatments with an S. TruthTreatments.com for my True Skin Health products, The Bright Side for my radio program, and Pharmacist-Ben.com and CriticalHealthNews.com for my blog.
Amazing. Awesome. Guys, we have a website too. Don't do the spiel, Tom. I'm kind of expelling you from that today. We've got our website is USUKnetwork.com, and that's powered by our friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website that looks just as good as ours, make sure you go see the website because Our friend Pete White will sort you out, good and proper. We also have the USUK Chronicles with Jamie Westwood and Tom Stevens, and this one is with Jeremy Saffer. A great interview they did there. Make sure you check out everything that the USUK Chronicles guys do, because it's fantastic. Our latest episode, probably not now. This is going to go out 2 weeks, but look, make sure you check out our interview with the amazing Billy West. He voiced a lot of characters from Futurama. He was in Ren and Stimpy. He did Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, the Red M&M. The Weekly Bazaar. It's the end of an era, because I've finished that show now. I'm not doing it anymore because I'm on the radio. Got me on radio show, Ben.
You did.
Yeah, it's called Naughty Talk with Alex Whiteley.
You got it for this one too, you beautiful bastard. Yeah, you
I got it right here.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love it. Go listen to Naughty Talk. I'm going to listen to it because I love the radio.
It's amazing. Splash Damage Radio, it's on, and it's every Thursdays at 8 p.m.
Which would be like 3 p.m. my time?
Yes, 3 p.m. your time.
Yeah.
And we play just Naughty's music. And I talk. Yeah. That's why it's called Naughty Talk.
Take care, fellas.
All right. Thank you very much. See you later, Ben.
When it comes to culture either side of the Atlantic, no one does it better. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you USUK's What's the Difference podcast with Alex Whiteley and Tom Bruno.